And how are you? I'm glad you're here. It's October the 8th. Can you believe that? October the 8th. It seems like just a moment ago we creeped over into, I know that's a funny word. I shouldn't use that word. We showed up at the year 2019. It seems like just a few moments ago that I was sitting in my third grade class, or my fourth grade class maybe it was, and asked the question, what would I be when I grow up? What would I be in the year 2000? And here we are. Here we are, just a skosh, just a moment from 2020. If there's ever been a time that we need to learn the difference between success, happiness, and fulfillment, I think that time exists now. That's why we started this series, and that's why we've been doing these things called these classes on listen your way to fulfillment. Because here's what I'm convinced of. I'm convinced that fulfillment is the attractive ingredient that lures, that draws, that causes success and happiness to pursue you. Wouldn't you like to have that in your life? To have happiness and success pursue you? I realize what it is. There are some that are watching. There are some that are listening. There are some right now that have earbuds, like I have earbuds, to make the sound quality much better. Okay, and there are some that are listening. You are in relationships. You are engaged currently in things that momentarily are bringing you happiness. They're bringing you what you think is success. And yet, as soon as it's over, you have a lack of fulfillment and you go on the hunt again. Here's what I liken it to. When I was much younger than I am today, I spent a lot of time looking for happiness, a lot of time looking for success. And in the process of doing that, I discovered getting drunk regularly and taking drugs on a regular basis and everything that comes along with drunkenness and parties and too much drinking of alcohol and the drugs and everything like that. And all of that proved to be empty in comparison to being fulfilled. And so we've started this series. What we've talked about so far, the videos that wait for you to listen to if you haven't been here in a while. The first one, we talked about if you're going to listen your way to fulfillment, you've got to learn how to log out of all the other conversations that are going on. Then we quickly moved in the following week on how to invest in the one that's speaking as if they have a treasure. And then thirdly, we talked about how to serve the one talking with your total 100% undivided attention. And then last week, we talked about triangulating the conversation where it's partly about you, partly about them, but mostly about us. Moving up here and being able to do that, being able to have a conversation about us, because it's in the us conversation that real wonder happens. Let me tell you something else that's really spectacular about today. It is today, 10 months ago today, that my Miss Jackie Jo came into the world. I'm telling you, what a joy she is to my heart. She gives me something that no individual on the planet gives me. Just like her brothers do. They give me something that nobody gives me. It's amazing to be around her. It's amazing to have her look at me. It's amazing to spend that time. And she and Ezekiel and RJ may be the biggest reasons that I'm doing this series. Because it's when I listen to them that I get fulfillment, because I'm connected with them in a bigger way. Tonight, we're going to discuss something that is rather difficult. It's rather hard. On video, it works much better if we're face to face. If we're in a room together, or we were at a coffee shop together, or I was conducting a workshop with you. And that is down here, what we've got to learn how to do is engage in thought-filled questions as we connect to each other. Let me give you the backstory of this and where I learned this. I was traveling back from the Midwest through Phoenix Airport. My flight was delayed, and so I stopped at this little taqueria, and I was going to get something to eat. I ordered my food, and I was by myself, and so rather than sitting with my back towards everybody, I sat with my back against the wall so I could sort of do something that I like to do. Confession time. Maybe none of you do this. I enjoy people watching. And I play this little game in my head, and that game is, I wonder what they're talking about. I wonder what he's laughing about. I wonder why she has a limp. I wonder why they are walking side by side and yet they're not talking with each other. I do this little game in my head. Well, this particular day, I was doing this, and there was a lady sitting next to me. And she was waiting for her flight, and she was hurriedly eating her food. And just as the time she got up to leave, over the loudspeaker, guess what? You guessed it, her flight was delayed too. And so she sat back down and she said a superlative about how that her flight is delayed. And I said, mine too. That's why I'm sitting here. And she looked at me and she said, would you like to play a game? And my first reaction was on the inside, what sort of game are you talking about? Because it was a perfect stranger. And she says, it's called the question game. It's called the question game. First time I ever played it. Since then, I've played it several times. And here's how it went. She would ask me a question, and then I needed to answer that question in a sentence or paragraph. I could not answer the question in yes or no or maybe. And then to close the answer out, I had to close it out with a question back to her. And within about 10 or 15 minutes, her and I connected in such a way that I've never forgotten her. Her name is Sherry. I don't have her phone number. I don't have her email. I don't even know if she still lives in Phoenix. She worked for dentistry, and she was on her way to a conference, maybe to see my friend Penny. I don't know. And we've never bumped into each other since. Yet I learned something from her that day that was pretty remarkable. That was this. The 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth tool to be able to listen our way to fulfillment, to make ourselves attractive to happiness and success, so that it will want to leave where it's at and pursue us and literally seize us and give us success, give us happiness. That's what it wants to do. We have to make ourselves attractive. We have to create a soul aroma. Did you hear what I said? A soul aroma that success and happiness wants to chase after us and get close to us. Now, how do we do that? What are the ways that we can literally ask thought-filled questions? Now, if we were together, this is the things that I would do. Number one, I would employ and deploy sentence and paragraph response questions to you and ask you to respond in a sentence. I would ask you the kind of questions that would demand you to answer in sentences or paragraphs. And then what I would do is, as I listen to you with my eyes and my ears, now to do that, I cannot have my screen open. I cannot have my phone in my hand. I've got to set it over there face down because I'm unlike you. I'm unlike you. See, you have the ability to hold your phone in your hand or have it in that special little sheath. And when it vibrates, when it does its thing, you have the ability to totally ignore that, don't you? When your phone does what it does, you have the ability to totally ignore it. I do not. Okay? I'm just telling you, I do not, Brenda. There is no way that I have the ability to hold my phone in my hand and it vibrate and me ignore it. There's no way for me to lay it down and see the screen do something and totally ignore it. And in the middle of wrestling about whether I want to answer that or not, I'm not paying attention to you. That's why we got to break away from our phones. I was doing a family coaching last night, and I was with some people, and we were talking about their children and how they could engage with them more. And the whole time, one of the things that was happening is one of the parents was engaged in their phone. Yeah, they were checking Facebook or their tweet feed. I don't know what they were doing. I don't know what they were looking. Maybe it was LinkedIn. Maybe it was a job. But what they communicated to me was what I was saying was not as important as they verbally said. I want you to lean into me. If you're a parent tonight, if you're a parent or a grandparent, your children and your grandchildren need to know by your presence, by your earlobes and your eyes that they're important. And when you're with them, set your phone down. Walk away from the phone. Have a space of time every evening that you're with your children that has nothing to do with screens. That has nothing to do with screens. Do this every night. Give them some of your time. When you and I go to have pizza, when you and I go to have Chinese food, when you and I go to have tacos, I'm not bringing my phone unless it's an emergency, and I'm going to communicate that to you that I have an emergency and I'm waiting on a phone call, or else I'm not bringing it in. For a little over a month and a half now, I've not taken my phone into my VP's home. And there's a reason why. Because they're more important to me than that. Now I'm practicing when I go downstairs, often, not all the time, but often, I will leave my phone up here in my office. And the reason I do that is because the people that are downstairs are much more important than the people that could come to me through my screen. We've got to learn how to be focused. And one of the ways to do that is to ask sentence response questions or paragraph response questions rather than saying, hey, how was your day? It was good. It was bad. It was not so good. We could ask something like this. What was good about your day? What was good about your day? Now, most of the time, you're going to get one of two responses. You're going to get nothing or something like that. Nothing at all. Or you're going to get an answer. You're going to get a sentence response. I like to ask the open-ended questions that cause us to think and give a good positive answer. I love to ask those questions. And then push out there a little bit and first ask the open-ended questions that demand a sentence answer, a paragraph answer, and then move on to the next level, to number two. Number two, I think there's 6 little gadgets that you can use to ask these thought-filled questions. Number 1 is ask an open-ended question that demands an answer in a sentence or a paragraph. Number 2, push out there new fun frontiers. Did you hear what I said? New fun frontiers. What was the best tasting thing you ate today and why? If you could be something on the plate at lunch, what would it be? And allow people to answer those questions. And then you shake your head. You're looking at them. Remember, you're going to connect with them after you've asked the question with your earlobes and your eyes. The only way they know that is by you shaking your head and then how you follow up with the next level question. So first, the first gadget is employ sentence or paragraph response questions. Number two, new and fun frontiers. Dive out there a little bit. If you were an animal, what would you be and why? And then listen, have fun with this. Do something, some improvisation there, and just have a little bit of fun. Now, number three is this. Gain connections with expressed gratitude. Every once in a while, Michelle, communicate to those people that you're having this engagement with, that you're engaging in thought-filled questions. Communicate to them what about their character and their actions you are personally grateful for. I'm telling you, I love number three. I love to gain connection through expressed connection, gratefulness, through expressed gratefulness. There's something that happens when we just show our gratefulness and express it. Number four, if you're engaged in this, it's a two-way street. Remember that. To be engaged in thought-filled questions means it doesn't just come from you out, it comes from them to you as well. One of the most exciting things that I enjoy doing is in the middle of a workshop, and if I can pull it off in a keynote, what I love to do is take a moment and have everybody turn to each other and ask each other thought-filled questions. Ask them, they ask each other questions. Then what I enjoy doing is taking a moment and having them ask me questions. I'll sit down on the stool and I'll have them ask me questions. And I have to answer the question, whatever it is. Like right now, if we were in the same room, it would be your turn to ask me a question. Now, if you want to do that, if you want to type that in your browser, I will attempt to see it. If I see it, I will answer it. You could ask me anything, all right? So if you have a question for me, do that now. Type it in there. And I'll see it right here on the screen, and I'll answer it, okay? You just go ahead. And if it gets past me, I'll answer it in a little while or before I go to sleep tonight. So see, it's a two-way street. So when they ask you, whatever it is that they do, you got to answer the question. Answer the blasted question. Refuse to be the magician and disappear from them when they ask you a question. I love it. My VPs teach me more about communication than probably any other person. Every once in a while, Rudy will say, "Granddad, I've got a question." And we play this, it makes sense or it doesn't make sense game. And then every once in a while, he'll say, "Why doesn't that make sense?" And I have to explain it to him. I can't say because. That's just a one word answer. I can't say because. I can't even throw down the granddad card and say, because I'm granddad and I said so. We've got to learn how to answer the question. So, what have we covered so far in these 15 minutes that we spent together? Number one, if you and I are going to listen our way to fulfillment, we've got to learn how to engage in thought-filled questions. And to do that, there are 6 little gadgets that you can pull out, and you could do that. You could do that. You could answer that. And I'm being asked right now, what would I like to do for my birthday on Thursday? What would I like to do? That's a good question. Well, I'm going to be in the Bay Area, and I would like to go to the prime rib place in San Francisco. What's it called? That prime rib place that I've never been to, that a bunch of my friends go to 2 or 3 times a year. The Rib House? No, I can't remember the name of it. I'm going to have to look it up. I would love to do that. I won't be able to. I won't be able to because As soon as I get done with what I'm going to be doing in the morning time, I'm going to be driving down to Southern California to serve Banning, California. So I won't be able to go to this prime rib place on my birthday, but that's what I'd like to do. Thanks for asking that, Annette. That was nice. And then Brenda is asking, would you ask others not to use their phones during a social dinner? Oh, yes. The house of prime rib. That's it. Brenda, yes. Yes, I do. What I do is when I'm at a social event, sometimes I play cell phone Jenga. And what I do is I ask everybody that's there to put their phones in the middle and we stack them. And we make a deal. We make a covenant with each other that the first person that answers their phone has to pay for the meal. I've never had anybody ever answer their phone. I've had some people refuse to play. I've had that. Now, when I'm at a social event and I'm training or I'm doing a workshop, what I do is I ask everybody to take their phone out and enter my phone number. And then I tell them why I'm doing that so they can text me or call me later. And I also tell them the third reason is so they have the opportunity to turn their phone on silent. Because if it rings and we hear it, I get to answer it. And Brenda, I'm telling you, one of the most exciting moments of laughter is when somebody forgets to turn their phone on silence. Yes, I have no problem. If you come to my house for a meal, my daughter's here. You come to my house for a meal, I may ask you to put your phone in a bowl that I call the cell phone souffle. I think it's okay to live without our phones, So answer the question when it's asked, okay? Do unlike a politician. Be unlike a politician. A politician will get asked a question. They'll listen, they'll act like they're listening, and then they'll answer something according to their agenda. Answer the question. Answer the question. Number one tool is employ sentence or paragraph response questions. Go to new fun frontiers. Number two, gain connection with expressed gratitude and looking at them and your ears. Your eyes and your ears connect. And when you express gratitude towards people, it's an amazing thing. Number four, answer the question. Number five, I want to reiterate this. Number five is use eye contact. Look at them for a minute. Now, each week, I've taken a moment and I've spoken to us that are up in front of the room once in a while. When you're up in front of the room once in a while and you do public speaking, you want to add the wow to the conversation that you're having. Now, notice what I said. Not the presentation, the conversation that you're having with the people that's in your room, regardless of the size, okay? Listen to me. If you're a public speaker, if you're a trainer, if you get in front of the board or the committee or the team every once in a while, when you're talking, when you're having this conversation, take a moment, turn your head and lock eyes with somebody and say your sentence or your paragraph while you're stopping and looking at somebody. When you connect eyeball to eyeball with somebody in the audience, with somebody in the room, what happens is most of the room reconnects to you. Did you hear what I said? They reconnect to you. When you go to a place like the House of Prime Rib, you sit at these round tables, okay? That's so everybody can look at each other. When you go out to eat with somebody and you're sitting at a rectangle or a square table, sit in the middle and see if you can get a moment where everybody is answering a question. You might just do it like, hey, everybody tell us your name, where you're from, and your favorite year. And then start. And you'll be amazed at the things you'll learn about each other, the fun you'll have with that, and how the spontaneous conversation goes. There's nothing wrong with setting our phones down. There's nothing. In fact, there's a lot right with it. Okay. Number 6, and finally, And finally, when you are engaged in these thought-filled questions and you answer the question, ask them a question back. Learn how to deploy the boomerang question. Ask them a question. You remember earlier I said I enjoy answering questions during the middle of a presentation? Often, when I've answered the question, I will say back to them after I've received their name, after I've asked for their name. Maybe David is asking a question, and David will ask me a question, and regardless of what he asks, I will answer the question. Then I will use his name, and I will say, David, did I answer the question? And he will have to come back, and he'll say, yes, thank you, Matt, or no. And so I will re-ask his question back to him to make sure that I'm on target. Somewhere I got off target. And then I will re-answer the question. So number 6 is end the question with a new question. Number 5, give eye contact. Number 4, answer the question. Be unlike a politician and just answer the question. Okay? Just answer the question. Once you put your phone down during a visit or a meal, it does get easier over time. Admittedly, not easy or at first. You just got to do it. Quit trying and just do it. All right. Number three, gain connection with 3 ways. There's 3 connectings that will work every time without fail. The first connecting, express gratitude for those that you are in a conversation with. Number 2, use your eyes to say that. Use your eyes to say that and your ears to hear what they're saying. Now, let me just show you something. When you look at somebody on the inside, that voice that nobody else hears, what I want you to do while you're looking at somebody, while you have eye contact with somebody, look at them and on the inside, say what you're grateful for about them. Say what you're grateful for about them. It's amazing what that does. Okay? There's 3 ways to connect really fast. Okay? With your eyes, your ears, and with expressed gratefulness. Expressed gratefulness. Number 2, new fun frontiers. Delve out there a little bit. Often I will ask people to answer a kooky question like, if you were a popsicle, what popsicle would you be and why? It's amazing to listen to the answers. Or if you were a candy, sometimes I'll bring candy and I'll spread it out over the table. And so I say, pick one of those candies and tell me which one you would be and why. Oh my goodness, it's so much fun when we do that. Number 1, employ sentence or paragraph response answers. All right? Listen, I hope you've had a good time tonight. I hope tonight has been good for you. I hope you've learned some things. I want to make an announcement. I want you to know something, that in November, we will start, right now it looks like a 30-minute podcast that will be called Slices of Success. They will drop or go live. They will go out to the public every Thursday morning. So while you're asleep, if you're on the West Coast, if you're on the East Coast, it may happen right the time you get up out of bed. It's going to drop about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. And then the intent is that you'll be able to listen to it on the way to work or while you jog, while you run, while you do whatever you do. It's a podcast. It'll be called Slices of Success. It'll be available on all the podcast locations. And what we'll be doing is we'll be talking about 3 things on a regular basis. We'll be talking about connective communication. We'll be talking about how to find the treasure that's embedded within conflict. And we'll be talking about how to create what I call customer allegiance. And along with that, we will talk about how to build strong relationships. Once in a while, I will interview people and they will be on there with me. I hope you're as excited about that as I am. We're doing some behind the scenes work on a logo and different things, a little graphic, and So I'll be giving you more information as we go on. I'm looking forward to being with Banning on Friday, East Whittier on Monday, and then chapter 66 next Thursday, and then with Redding, California on November 1st and 2nd. On the 2nd, we'll be doing a public seminar, how to discover and unravel your own map of your life. And then the following weekend, we'll be in Ontario, California, and we'll be doing that's not four, that's three. Okay, even in the new math, that's three. 4 workshops for the California School Nutrition Association, 2 on Saturday afternoon and 2 on Sunday morning. All right? Hey, listen, if I can ever do anything for you, if I can come and do some training for you, if I can come and do anything for you, if you need some speaking coaching, if you need some direction, if you need some help, just reach out to me and I'll be able to do that. I'll be able to help you. And this Thursday is a no complain day. Okay? Not very many of you have signed up. Come on, get bold. Come on out there and say you will not spend any waking time complaining, any sunlight time complaining. Okay? Can you do that? I can do that. I hope you'll be part of that. And also, I'll be giving out my annual list of things I've learned, and I'll put number 61 on that list this Thursday. Okay? Hey, listen. Thanks for being here. You cannot know what it means to me that you're here with me. And I cherish you. I look forward to seeing you soon. And listen, I want to wish you a great Tuesday night. All right? I'll see you later. You can reach me at 916-708-8103 anytime you need, or you can email me at leap@mattupton.net.